This is one disadvantage of being tall. You might have to straighten up a bit. I'm not losing.
Jag ser mer där.
You're right.
No, you're only going a few hundred yards, don't worry. You're not about a mile and a half today, tomorrow when you start work tomorrow.
Right.
Just pull in a bit, young man, as well, just let everybody in, that's great stuff. Yeah, so what I was saying was working between 1855 and 1958, it was a mile and a half deep. And you would have drifted into work and drifted out. Let me give you a few statistics if I can, and I'll talk about the wages when we get down there, because I said I was really rude to a group last week. I said, you know, you're the worst group I've ever had in the whole day, and they went all sour. I said, because you're the first group that's never asked how much you're going to earn today. And and I was only joking, but then I thought, I'm never going to say that again, which I've just had. How to dig a hole in a coal mine. In 1913, in County Durham, there was 304 coal fields, right? You have to take this in because I will test you on the way out. And basically they employed 166,000 or more men and boys. 29%, nearly a third of the male workforce of County Durham was working above or below ground in 1913. And they took out a record production of coal, and they took out over 53 million tonnes of coal. And 9/10 of that, 92% of it with a pick and shovel. The rest of it, and this is coming back to coal dust, was taken out with this machine that you'll see in a minute when you come round. It's called a Siscall machine. It's a cutter. And you know when you were coming in there, you saw some big tubular, they're called egg boilers. And basically what they do is they're propped on bricks, coal fired from underneath, half filled with water, and that generates the steam to operate this machine and also the ventilation. So it's a really good thing. Do you want the good bits and the bad bits about the cutter here? Yeah, you're going to get it anyway, but I just thought I'd ask for permission. The good news for the coal owners is that it cuts coal 4 times quicker than a coal miner can. The bad news is, and there's 2 really big bits of bad news, and I'm not making fun of this, it's 4 times louder than a road drill in 2022 without the ear protection. And going back to coal dust disease, it generates much more coal dust because it creates more granular coal. The women nickname it, with their black sense of humour, the coal miners' wives nickname it the widow maker. And the men die of pneumoconiosis, coal dust disease, and sometimes because they're using stone as well as wood for pit props, they die of silicosis, stone dust disease as well. Yeah, this is getting depressing, this. I might as well get it all out now. The average lifespan of a coal miner in 1913 is 45 years old. The average lifespan of a man in 1913 is 55 years old. So they're losing, in a sense, 10 years of life.
What age were they when they came down?
They were going down in 1913 at 16 as putters. The boys were working as young as 13 above ground. And they would have been working on the screens, and what they basically did, and older men who were too infirm, there was no age limit, you know, it was a level of fitness. But the older men and 13, 16-year-old boys would have worked on the screens. Now, we normally have a screen, but they're doing some repairs up at the moment. And basically what they do is taking any stone, any rusty metal, any debris, any explosive charges that have been spent, and chucking it out, basically, yeah? So 13 above ground, but 16 below ground. So it's quite a long time to be working under there. The other thing, just to say, and I shouldn't be doing this, right? That's a no road. Sorry, apologies. It's because you didn't hear the first bit. There was 2 deep mines at Beamish, and this closed in 58, but they closed in 65.
Right.
And that's a road taking coal out of here
Right.
after the coal was expired from here, out of the main, out of the drift, because it was more economical than going up an 800 feet shaft with tons of. So they did both, but
Yeah.
this was an easy route out. Mentioned my stick. I said I had a stick before. That's a yardstick. So what they would do is they would prop a yard ahead, and you'll see when we get down there how dark it can be. So they would be propping a yard. So they would be using that as a gauge, basically, to say, right, we're going to get the yard. And you'll notice I'm leaning on this. Did you hear it creak or groan at all? Is it making any funny noises? If it does, tell me and I'll get out first.
Right.
Yeah, no, they use softwood, pine wood. If it was a hardwood, it would just literally snap and there'd be no warning. So, yeah. And that goes back to mining injuries. There's been a great book written by Jeremy Paxman, of all people, recently on